Our video project, we focused on women in sport and specifically Title IX. In our group was Sloan, Kim, Emily, Gracie, and Avery. The Civil Rights Movement was a time of change and equality for people in the United States. Over the past century, women have had to work hard and go through a lot in order to get equal rights. Title IX was not only for sports, however that is what many people relate it to be, but instead it was for women and men equality for higher education and gender equality in general. Title IX was passed 45 years ago and is now what allows women to play the sports that they love. Even though women's rights still are not equal today, Title IX shows the reward that women get for working hard towards equal rights.
Over the past century, the number of women's sports has been constantly increasing. This has been creating a worldwide controversy because women have never had the same equal rights and opportunities as men. Title IX is the most significant piece of American legislation that shows legal support for gender equality. Title IX bans sex discrimination in all schools and other programs that receive federal funding. This is not only a powerful direct effect on American society, but it caused a revolutionary development of global support. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed, and in 1972, the Education Amendment was added to it. Within the Education Amendment was Title IX. It stated, "No person in the U.S. shall on the basis of sex be excluded from participation in, or be denied the benefit of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal funding." According to History.com, although this act was put into place in 1964, the guidelines for this act were not put in place until 1972. Schools then had until 1978 to put these guidelines into practice. This was a huge gap that allowed for the Supreme Court to interpret the law in a way that still exempted most of these sports. Finally, in 1988, Congress was able to restore the original intent of the law. Schools still continue to fight back, according to History.com. However, the law successfully forced many of these schools that were fighting back to take the steps needed to achieve equality.
Before the movement, women really only had a couple choices to become successful: be a stay-at-home mom, nurse, or a teacher. Women could never do what they loved and never got the feeling of achievement of doing something they loved like they do today. They never got a chance to step onto a big-time field and score the winning goal. Girls were taken advantage of a lot before Title IX was passed. They often would just use the saying, "Boys will be boys." Everyone discriminated against women, which is still somewhat shown today, just not to the same extent. We still see this today in the fact that there are not very many women's sports shown on television. The majority are men's sports. Women have come to accept that men are always going to be better than them, and this is not okay. Women should think they are on the same level, if not superior than them. Women during the 1960s fought really hard for their rights and what they have today. The discrimination of women was much worse back then, and it did not stop the Title IX activists from fighting for equal rights for women.
Title IX has had a huge impact on the number of girls playing a sport at any level. Before Title IX, 1 in every 27 girls would play a sport. Now, 1 in every 2.5 girls will play a sport. Today, 42% of high school athletes are female. Before Title IX was passed, only 7% of high school athletes were female. In 2011, there were nearly 200,000 female college athletes. Before Title IX was passed, there were only 30,000 female college athletes.
Equal rights, social justice, and equal opportunities in education and sports were very popular topics during the Civil Rights Movement. Title IX was a main event during this time, and women had to fight hard to get this bill to pass. Olympic gold medalist in swimming Lynn Colella told the world her story to Congress, and the ERA, which stands for Equal Rights Advocates, girls had to mean to themselves. A boy had the possibility of getting scholarships. They weren't opportunities like that for girls. Even after the bill was passed, it did not create as much attention as they thought it would. Facts from Title9.com show that fewer than 295,000 girls participated in school athletics, but in 2001, that number jumped to 2.8 million. This is a great way to see women's sports finally starting to get more equal rights. Looking at this now, we can see why even over the past couple of years and becoming more and more familiar with the law, we can start to see how it is still changing the world and creating equal rights for not only women in sports but gender equality everywhere. And we can honestly say we love seeing the change.
Since Title IX was implemented in the 1970s, the number of girls participating in college athletics have increasingly gone up. While it is not equal to the number of male athletes, Title IX has created more opportunities for female athletes to play in college.
In conclusion, the power women have been able to bring to the table and work hard to create equal rights for today is amazing. Title IX was put into effect in the 1960s and later enacted in 1972. It gave all genders equal opportunities in every aspect of life. The support still continues to grow and progress throughout every generation. It means a lot that we get to play the sports we love because of the women that fought hard for us. Title IX has greatly influenced the world in many aspects other than sports, and it will continue to grow throughout the next generations.
Title IX doesn't just apply to a school's athletic endeavors. In fact, it deals with any issue where sex discrimination is in play, including sexual assault and sexual harassment. Here are 9 things to know about Title IX and its implication off the sports field and in the classroom.